I release all judgment and embrace where I am with love. I surrender to this moment. I find peace within. I surrender to this moment. I find peace within. I surrender to this moment.
Welcome to Awakening Cosmic Souls. This episode is going to be about balance. I'm Shaman Ra.
I'm Angel.
And we're here to really just tap in and see how we can help you on your spiritual journey.
Yeah.
Please like, follow, and share all of this information because it's going to be really good for us to get the information out about the spiritual journey. So, what do we want to talk about today?
Yeah, let's talk about balance.
Oh, balance. Balance is something different. I mean, it's sometimes you got to really define balance. What does balance mean? Balance means something that's equally in play that levels out.
Right.
So when we're looking at balance in the spiritual life and the physical life, because of spiritual beings having a physical experience. So how do we balance that out? And a lot of times what happens is people go into the spiritual realm or they get into the spiritual journey and they want to go into these higher realms. Everybody wants to live in the upper chakras and they forget about the lower realm. They forget about the earthly realm. And we can't forget about the earthly realm because this is where we're here. We're supposed to be enjoying this journey, learning as spirits what it's like to manifest.
Yeah.
What it's like to actually not manifest.
Right.
Or be in doubt.
Yeah.
You know, be in lack, be in abundance, be in prosperity. We're supposed to learn all these things. And that's going to lead into another topic. You know, when we talk about what we have and what we want to have and who we are as a person. And do we really want to heal? That's a question.
Okay, so what we have and what we want to have, to speak on that. So I just got back from Morocco and it's during Ramadan and it was just a beautiful thing to see the devotion of the country when it's like it's fasting during that time, right? But it was the restaurants that chose to keep with the tradition. They allowed everyone to, it's kind of like a buffet style. I believe it's called Ishtar. But whatever they cook, everyone that comes to patronize the restaurant, they eat it. But then the non-Muslims or those that weren't going with the tradition of Ramadan, they just serve the regular food. But the country stops and everyone stop and pray at a certain time. And then it reminded me that when God was put first and then everything else follows after that.
Yeah.
And so when we talk about like balance with what is it that we want to have, because we're here to experience those things in 3D, but it could be where you feel like you're getting a little caught up in it, you know?
For real.
Yeah, then it becomes an obsession. So then it's like, okay, how do I know I'm in balance with these things, you know?
That's a good question. That's a good question because we can get obsessed with the journey because we can decide that we want to experience so much of the outer realms of something outside of us that we forget we have to experience what's inside of us. And that's where the real journey began, just going inside of yourself, deep into your own heart space, deep into who you are. And we begin to actually balance our lives versus spiritualize our lives. Spiritualizing our lives is when we literally say, you know, I'm just going to forget about the 3D life and I want to live as a spirit. I want to live in the heavens and everything is love and light and everything is great and I'm denying everything else. So when we go into that space of denial, that's when we begin to get out of balance. And denial is another thing that we can look at because when people even get into the spiritual journey and they say they want to heal, sometimes they're in denial actually wanting to heal and they're in denial of the fact that they want to be saved or they want someone to do something for them. Or some people, and you know, don't hit me for this, but some people want to play the victim. They want to be the victim. And some people want to be the savior. And the thing is, that's out of balance because every soul is equipped with exactly what it needs to actually heal itself. Every soul is equipped with it. And we just have to go inside to remember it.
Yeah.
And that's what we have to do. So it's an interesting thing when we talk about balance. It's where do we strike that balance? And we can begin, like we talked about last week, your projection is your reflection. So you can begin to see when you're out of balance, because life will begin to show you out of balance. And you program yourself. So you can say, hey, I want to know when I'm out of balance. So life, show me scenarios, experiences, actions of people outside of me being out of balance. Or show me being out of balance by showing my relationship is out of balance. Show what I'm doing that's out of balance. But show me in the sense of something that's outside of me. You might turn on the TV and start watching TV and everything is one-sided. You may go out into public and you start having or hearing conversations and everything is one-sided. You may go into a place at work and everything is one-sided. Everything is based upon one side of the polarity. Everything is based upon one opinion. It's based upon spirituality, or it's based upon the material world. It's based upon the 3D world or the 5D world. Everything that we look at. And so you ask yourself, you program your subconscious mind to show you when you're out of balance by showing you what's on the outside of you, because your projection is going to be your reflection.
Right. Okay. And I know we covered a bit about the relationships that we are attracting on that. So if we already come equipped with everything that we need to heal ourselves, but the relationships show us, and we get to practice with them.
Right. Definitely, yeah.
Because it's I'm not gonna say it's no fun trying to do it alone, but it's funner with other people around.
Yeah, it is. It is, because we're built as human beings and we're built to be in tribe. We're built to be in pairs. You know, that's why you have the masculine and the feminine. We're built to be in pairs, and the masculine and feminine have two totally different jobs, which are both equally as important. And when you have two of them together, masculine and feminine energy, you're able to bring that energy together, and you're able to actually view and see how to actually grow and become better. And it's a lot more fun. It's enjoyable because you have someone to share it with. And that's something that's so critical that we have to understand in our relationships, is sharing. And that's a part of balance, because that masculine and feminine energy is a balance. And when it's out of balance, it shows when it's out of balance. So each energy has a specific role, and we have to learn those roles, and we have to begin to dive into them. The masculine energy is one that provides instruction and protection and covering. The feminine energy is the energy that creates and allows the manifestation to happen. So it's a beautiful thing when you get into balance about that. Yeah, it is. But the relationship is key to show us how things are happening. And yeah, of course you can do it by yourself, but it's better to do it in a relationship. It's a lot more enjoyable. And the thing is, it doesn't have to be a romantic relationship. It can be a relationship with a friend. It can be a relationship with a sibling. It can be a relationship with one of your parents. But it needs to be a relationship. Any type of togetherness is a ship, you know.
Right.
We put all these quotes and parameters around it, but relationship is a relationship, it's a ship.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay, and so with us trying to find balance and to keep that in perspective, when do we know if we're out of balance and it's a bad thing? Like we're overdoing something. You know? Yeah,
and that's true. So when are we overdoing something? It's when we're overindulging and we become addicted to it, or it becomes an obsession.
So can that happen for you on spirituality?
Oh, heck yeah, for sure it can happen. It happens to a lot of people because you get so used to wanting to experience that bliss and feeling of the heavenly realm that you forget that there's an earthly realm. But the only way to really feel the earthly realm is to actually, or only way to really feel the spiritual realm at the highest frequency is to be balanced and grounded deep in the earthly realm. So the deeper we go into the earthly realm, the deeper we go into ourselves, the higher we can actually expand as spirits.
Okay, so does that mean we have to get out of nature, or like what?
Yeah, of course. Getting in nature, and you know, sometimes we got to get out of the city, because in the city it's so dense. The energy is so her.
Yeah.
It's aggressive.
Yeah.
And sometimes we need to go out into the countryside. We need to go into space where we can actually sit with nature, because nature, earth is grounding. Earth is the biggest grounder ever.
Yeah.
So if we get out there, we begin to ground and we begin to release and get away from that tension, and we begin to see clearly.
Yeah.
That's what happens.
Okay. What else can we use to help with that balance?
With the balance?
Yeah.
Well, some of the things we can do, we can definitely pray, we can meditate, we can create schedules, we can create routines in the morning that keep us in balance, to remind us that, hey, we are living a physical experience as spirits. We can begin to pray and meditate, and then we can begin to enjoy life too. Even if we live in the city, we can still go out, we can have fun, we can enjoy ourselves, we can do the things that we love to do. And it just depends on where you are in your spiritual journey or soul's maturity, what dictates what you love to do. Some people like to go out and have a little drink here and there, and some people don't. Some people understand that they're not for that. It's not that it's a good thing or a bad thing. It's just not for everybody, because there are certain people that partake in alcohol or partake in other spirits, and they enjoy life.
Right.
You know, but they're enjoying life to the point where they're now expanding spiritually, because there's no parameters on being spiritual. Spiritual is being yourself.
Yeah.
It's not about being what is dictated as spiritual. That's just taken back into Western dogma of religion.
Oh man, I was just getting ready to say that, because it's like I've had someone say to me, like, I guess when it looks like, you know, you're happy, you have that light and everything like that, but it was, do you drink? And I'm like, no, I don't drink. And it's like, well, what fun is that? You know, like, and it's like, I did drink at one point, and it was, I guess I thought that was fun, but as my spirit has and my soul has evolved, it's not fun anymore to me. Like, I don't like the way it makes me feel. It feels toxic to me.
Right.
And I feel sick. It feels like it's poison to my body. But at one point I did indulge in that, and I was on my spiritual journey. I would love to drink wine. And I can't drink it anymore. But it is like, people start judging you based off of you looking a certain type of way, like, oh, if she don't look like Erykah Badu, she's not on her spiritual journey. You know what I'm saying? What you dyeing your hair for? And, you know, you're supposed to be.
You got to have a look. That's a dogma. That's creating a new dogma. It's just a modern way to give a dogma of what spirituality is. But spirituality is being your authentic self.
Right.
So if you like to drink at one point and you grow out of that, then that's your authentic self. You grow out of it. That's the maturity of your soul. You know, it's not that one soul is more mature than the other. It's just the maturity, it develops to the point where it decides it wants something else to fill it.
Right.
And sometimes when we drink, we're drinking because we're in some type of depression anyway, and we're trying to escape from something. And we have to then understand, what is our true reasoning for the drinking? Why are we enjoying it so much? But then when you begin to start to become high on life, then a lot of those extra substances you don't crave anymore. You're filling the void with something else. And the void is now being removed, and you're creating something new. That's all part of balance.
That's good. That's a good answer there. Okay. And so you covered what will happen if what we can use to stay in balance.
Right.
So what about when we feel like we're ready to, our soul is like maturing and we're ready to go into that next level? What does that next level look like for us?
Oh, that's a good question. That next level looks like something different to everybody. You know, they can't really put a definition on what the next level looks like. The next level looks like, I'm embracing myself now. And when you start to feel good about yourself and not hide anymore, when you stop caring what other people think about you, that's when you take that next step to the next level. So it looks different for everybody. But when you can really know it, when you decide and you come to a point where it doesn't matter what other people think about me. I'm not trying to people please anymore. I'm not trying to appease people. I'm not worried about other people's opinions of me, because I love myself. And the thing about it is, when you begin to love yourself like that, other people love you too. Because remember, your projection is your reflection. So if you love yourself like that, everybody else is going to love you. And they're going to be gravitating to you and all that good stuff. So it's a beautiful thing when we can begin to move into that level of self-acceptance. And once we go into self-acceptance, we go into self-expression and self-love. And then we begin to master ourselves. Then we don't care about nothing, because guess what? We don't need anything outside of us. And that's what we're built. That's why I say we have everything in us already, because we don't need anything outside of us. But then when we have a partner and one has everything inside of them, and they're happy and they're on their journey, and somebody else has everything inside of them, then all of a sudden it's like, okay, let's go even deeper. And then the partner shows you where you need to go deeper. And then the other partner shows the other partner where they need to go deeper. And it begins to be a fun game, and you keep going deeper and deeper and deeper. And you just enjoy it, because guess what? You're going to have to keep doing this journey for an eternity anyway. It never ends, never ends. I say it never began, it never ends. So you might as well have fun while you're doing it.
Right.
That's the whole purpose.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. That's deep.
Yeah. But you brought up another point earlier as we were talking about the question and being in balance is this: do we really want to be healed? So, kind of tap into that where you were asking me about, that aspect of healing, and do we really want to be healed? Because we can talk about that.
Yeah. So when you had mentioned before about the suffering, so like when we choose to suffer, it's like, but why you keep thinking those thoughts, and why do you keep attracting these same type of relationships?
Right.
And you're there, and it's like, better, but why do you keep doing the same thing? So it's like, well, if I'm choosing this, do I actually want to go through this? So does that mean that I'm choosing purposely not to heal?
Yes. You're choosing purpose not to heal. And sometimes that goes into the victim and the victimizer, because somebody sometimes always wants to be the victim. Somebody always wants to be the victimizer. Somebody always wants to be the savior. And somebody always wants to be the person who wants to be saved. And you can get into the spiritual realm and begin to portray the person that needs to be saved. And the unhealed healer is going to come in and try to save you. And what that does is robs the person of their experience. So what you have to do is you have to give them tools to go where they have to go. Stay close enough to them to help them up. But you don't do the work for them. So anytime I'm doing energy resets with people, it's like, I'm bringing in the energy, but what's going to happen is you're going to bring in as much energy as you want to heal to the level that you want to heal at. And that's where it goes. But like you said earlier, some people are choosing, and this is the thing. Sometimes we're doing things unconsciously and they're habitual and we don't see it. But once we see it, then it's no longer habitual. It's no longer something that we're unaware of. When we become aware of it, now it becomes a choice when we make that decision to go back into that situation, or go back into that loop. And that's a person that's really not ready to be healed. Okay. Now they might say, I want to be healed, I want to do this, but now you're going back into the loop and people are telling you this is what you need to do, and you don't do it. You're choosing not to do it. Someone points out you're choosing not to do what you need to do to begin to remove yourself from the loop or the process. So
would it be like you're stopping someone's karmic?
Sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah. You could be stopping someone's karma because every soul has to come here to get something. But then when we look at it, that kind of puts parameters around it. But when we do stop it, we are stopping their karmic debt.
Yeah.
But sometimes that's part of the soul's journey. Sometimes it's part of the journey where we have to stop somebody's karmic debt, or we're supposed to stop it and take the pain for them. But then that adds on to us. So what are we doing with that situation? Now, this is the key thing. We can never really say or do or understand that process because that's God. God created the soul. God created all of us. God created us to be an extension of itself, to have an experience. Yeah. So it decides how it wants to have the experience in the way it wants to have the experience. And we're all interconnected. So we can't ever figure that out.
Yeah.
So it's just like, leave it alone. That's why you got to be authentically who you are.
Okay. Yeah, because it makes me think about, like, when somebody say, oh, you're God sent, oh, thank you for helping me out. And you thought that by you doing this is helping them, and then you later find out that they did something terrible with that help or something like that, and it's like, oh my goodness, like, I was just trying to help that person out.
Right.
And so when you're saying we can interfere with someone's karmic debt, but then it's like, well, my knowing told me to help them.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, my heart felt like I was supposed to assist with whatever that they needed.
Right.
And
so you did what you were supposed to do. Because again, that was a part of your learning, because you stepped in to do something, and it could have been something where you were taking their karmic debt or doing something for them. But then you figured out that you did it and they did something else, and now that was a lesson for you to learn. So the lessons are always two-way. There's never one way and the other person not receiving anything. So if I'm giving something, I'm receiving something.
Yeah.
And we're always doing that.
Yeah.
And again, we can't figure out whether it's right or wrong or God's way, not God's way. It's just is.
Right.
And what we have to do is strive to be our best selves by learning who we are and being okay with that, because that's part of the process. Now you have something called forgiveness, which is one of the divine expressions. So now how do you forgive yourself? How do you understand yourself? After you've done something, you realize that, ooh, maybe I shouldn't have done that because it really didn't help the person. But it actually did, and it helped you to understand something about yourself. And maybe it gives you the information or lesson to say, instead of doing something for someone, teach them how to do it for themselves. So it's like, if you have a starving person, you don't give them fish, you teach them how to fish. And that's what that might be the lesson for you. But every journey, every experience has a beautiful lesson in it, and you have to understand and learn the lesson to make it your blessing.
Yeah. Indeed. That is it. That's the bar.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. And we got to understand that, again, some people understand that this spirituality and this business is one where people can manipulate. So there are people out there that will manipulate, and they will make themselves the victims, and they will look for a way to pass the blame. But that's all just part of the journey, and it's just part of it. What we have to do when we're in balance and when we're expressing our authentic self, we begin to elevate. We begin to become very intuitive, and we will literally see that a mile away.
Yeah.
As soon as you step into the presence of someone, it's like, whew, this is what this person is doing. Let me teach this person how to fish and see what they want to do. And what I learned to do a long time ago was I would give you enough information to help you, but it wasn't enough information to complete it, but it was enough information for you to understand if you wanted to go further, you had to come back to me, and I would give more information. And I wouldn't do it for you, but I would give you the information, and that would show me that, hey, this person really wants to take it to the next level. And if you keep giving people information and they keep doing the work, then it becomes their habit.
Yeah.
And that's how you should really effectively teaching from the heart and not from the brain. The brain tries to control, and that's what we want to get out of that. And the control is something that we really have to be aware of. And when you begin to understand or think that you have to control everything, that's when you're out of balance. Okay. It's another sign.
Okay. I have met people who tell me that, they don't need to heal from anything. Like, they have not had any struggles in life.
Bullshit.
They had life where they grew up with loving parents. They got to choose whatever school and go on whatever course. And so they have nothing to heal from, And so can this journey be of one without any type of struggle?
No, I don't think so. And that's my opinion. There is a point where we come to a flow, yes. But in order to get to a flow, you have to struggle. You can never have a testimony without a test. And so we got to understand that.
Well, what if on that person's journey here on this earth, they were just supposed to be in flow state?
And that could be it. And that's very well part of it. And I'm not going to say that can't happen. I personally haven't seen it, but not to say anything can happen. But I will say this, because we're changing in times, you might start seeing people that are coming in flow state all the time, which is good. That's a good thing. But flow state is really a mentality. It's really a perspective, because for me, I'm in flow state probably 99, 98% of the time.
Okay.
But there are that 1 or 2% that I do understand that there are hiccups, but I don't see them as hiccups. This is what we talked about last week, but perspective. You begin to see the perspective in what's happening to you versus what's happening for you.
Right.
So if something is happening to me, in my opinion, it's really happening for me. So at that point, I'm in a flow, because now I'm taking something that would be considered a negative and making it a positive because it's teaching me a lesson.
Yeah. That's
the law of neutralization. That's polarizing yourself in a higher frequency. So it's a whole nother level. We can go deep with this one.
Woo. Okay. So that's a state of mind. And that comes with the soul's maturity.
Yes.
Okay. And is that something that we're striving to get to?
Of course.
So and then that comes with walking in our true authentic self and
Right.
walking with our divinity.
Right, right.
And if one is trying to attain and stay at like flow state, we're dealing with life, natural emotions of things that happen.
Of course.
That can put us, we're all up here, and then we can all of a sudden have a downward spiral because someone close to us passes away.
Yeah.
We're grieving something, a relationship. It may not even be just romantic, but someone you've been around for a long time. Now they're not here.
Right.
And now I don't feel my best.
Oh.
Yeah. Now I don't feel my best. Now I kind of want to feel sad because I miss that person.
Right.
And then I don't want to feel like I want to move on right away from that relationship by replacing it with different thoughts, because I'm still thinking of that person and the things that I experienced and how happy I was with that person. And now I'm sad because I think I won't be able to be in communication with that person anymore.
Well,
yeah. So how long, I know that's normal to feel that way. How long is a safe space to stay there in that space to experience that as a human and then to let it go?
Good question. And I would say, if anybody's out there that's feeling like that, if you're feeling like that, don't let go. It's not time to move on yet. It's just an understanding, because things come into our awareness for us to even look deeper at certain things. And as we begin to see those losses, sometimes it's because we're elevating, and sometimes we might have those experiences where we think it's going to be a loss, but it's really not a loss because it's something that's inside of us that we're afraid of, that they're showing us. But we assume or think it's going to be the end of the relationship because we don't understand it. So at that point, you really want to just sit quiet and sit still, because when you're not ready to let go, that's when it's time to slow down. That's when it's time to actually just observe. And then you basically look at yourself. Okay, where is this expression from this person living inside of me? And then begin to dig deep on that. And sometimes when you heal that expression, then the relationship between you and the person heals. So it's not about just letting go. And then sometimes some people are not ready to go into a higher frequency. And it is exactly what you're saying. It is time to let go. But right now is a time in grieving when you sit still and you be quiet. And when you sit in stillness, all the answers come to you. And now how long does that take? We don't know. You know, it just depends. But you can tell when you're there, because once you truly can see that person, you can have an open conversation with that person with no feelings of negativity or no feelings of hurt, then you've actually released it. And it's a beautiful thing when you do release it, because at that point, there is no animosity. There is no hurt feeling. It's just, it is what it is, and we're cool. So I tell people a lot that you go through situations and people say, well, how do I know I'm over the situation? Well, when you can actually openly talk about that situation with anybody, anytime, and you don't have any emotions about it, other than, man, this happened, and it was a learning experience, and you really love the experience. So when you begin to love the experience that you got from the person or the situation, that's when you truly let it go.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so to test that out though, and if it's you're saying you can sit and talk, what if it's you're talking to that person about the situation or why you guys, are no longer in a relationship anymore. But if that person tells you of some things that you've done, and you said you've healed now, you've healed that, and you're ready to sit down and talk to them, and then they're telling you some stuff about you, and that you don't necessarily agree with that you don't feel like that was, a part of what you saw in that relationship, but you want to be open to the different side of what that person saw the relationship as, and how you felt and saw the relationship as well. But it's like, where do you come to a meeting point and say, okay, well, if I've healed and now I'm able to have this conversation with you and my healed version, but you are not healed, and then you're projecting and you're saying that this was a certain type of way, like, where's the meeting point at for that? Like, how do you get over that, and how does that person now need help? Are you supposed to project onto them, what helped you heal, or like?
Definitely not. Never project back onto them. Because if you project back onto them, that's you going back into your egoic self to tick for tack, to throw blows, and to get even. And that's, and if you have to go to that, then you're not healed from it. So that's the whole thing. It's like when you're not truly healed from it, you can't have the conversation.
Okay.
Because you can be, spiritualized, healed from it, and know exactly what you're supposed to do and how you're supposed to let it go, but you haven't fully let it go. And that's a big thing. When you fully let something go, it changes.
Yeah.
On the inside, your chemistry changes. So if you're not there, that's why I say wait. And anytime that something happens fresh, you're not ready to let that go right then.
Yeah.
That might take months, especially if you have a lifetime relationship with somebody. That's not going to just be rectified and you're going to be okay with that tomorrow. Don't even put that pressure on yourself. Put that in a space where it's like, this is something I really need to look at myself and figure out what I need to heal from. Why am I getting this experience with this person? Why does it keep coming back to me in this space? So when you are looking at it from that perspective, then you begin to see not what's happening to you, but what's happening for you. And then you begin to be appreciative of the actual experience that caused a split. And when you're appreciative of that experience, because now you're finding out something about yourself and you find out about yourself, you heal from it. Now, when you go to the person, they have no reason to be that version of themselves anymore. So they'll be very open and receptive to listening to you. And that way you can meet in the middle. So the only way to meet in the middle is for both people to be in a state of healing. And sometimes one person has to be the one that actually goes through the full healing. And if the other person is not ready to go through that healing, then what happens is they stay in discord. And you're just like, I still love you and I love you and I love the experience that we had. And that at that point, you can easily release them and let them go. Because at that point, they're showing you that they're not ready to heal, but you've already healed what's going through each of you all. Yeah.
Wow.
So it gets deep, and every situation is different, though. I mean, you're asking me some good stuff, but every situation is different. So if people are going through some things like that, feel free to reach out. I love to talk about these things. When we go live on some of the social media stations, definitely shoot. I'll put up a little post. Ask me questions.
Yeah.
Ask me those questions, because every situation has a little uniqueness to it. And this is the thing. I can intuitively see a lot. But when the person actually shares the full story with me, then that's healing for them. But then when they want me to just tap into it and intuitively pick up everything, then I'm going in to heal. I'm doing the work. But again, it goes back to, are you really ready to heal? Are you really ready? Are you really ready to heal? Because that's the thing. It's like, I don't know if they're really ready to heal at that point. And I will see that. I see that by your actions. I talk to people all the time, and I'm telling them how to recognize their words and what they're saying. And I won't say a lot, all of my sessions I record. And I record them so I can give them back to the client, because what happens is I want them to hear the way they speak to me.
Right.
And I want them to hear themselves. And sometimes people come back to me and say, man, I said that? I can't, man, I don't ever remember saying that. And that's because you jump so fast into the ego of that defense mode that you have to protect yourself. You put that guard up and you start protecting, because I'm going to ask you those questions that are going to be sensitive, that are uncomfortable.
So uncomfortable.
Yeah. And I ask myself those questions all the time.
How dare you?
Exactly. Like, who are you? I'm not anybody. I'm just a person here to help you find yourself. And that's how you have to see me, as the person's helping me. I have no judgment, no malice to what I'm doing.
Because you got to do your own healing.
Yeah. And
at the end of the day, can nobody come and jump in your body and do it for you?
Nope, you can't do it. And when you realize that, that's when you're in balance. That's when you're in balance. When you realize that nobody can do it for you, you got to do the work yourself, and you're willing to make that choice to do the work. You make that commitment to yourself. It's just like a marriage.
Yeah.
You make that commitment. It's like, hey, I'm getting married, or I'm choosing a life partner. We're in this for life.
Yeah.
And we're going to do what we got to do. And if something happens in life and we vibrate apart because life vibrated us apart.
Yeah.
And we're fully okay with that.
Right.
There is no, oh man, the relationship, this and that. None of that.
Yeah.
But that's relationships. Sometimes they happen, sometimes they don't. But we all have to have the experience that we're having right now. We make the choice to stay in it. And when it's your soulmate.
Yeah.
You know it. And whether it be a a relationship, romantic, whether it be a friendship, whether it be siblings or whatever, you know when that relationship is supposed to be lifelong.
Yeah.
You know it.
Yeah.
It's in your heart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Good stuff. All right. I'm looking forward to the next episode already.
All right.
Yeah. That was really good.
Very good.
Balance.
Very good. Balance. It's a
Yeah.
lovely thing. Balance.
Yeah. Well, thank you all for tuning in, and I look forward to sharing some more on the spiritual journey on the next episode of Awakening Cosmic Souls.
I do too as well. Thank you all for listening. Remember, like and share. Okay? Comment, like and share. Comment, like and share.
Yes, talk to us.
Yes.
Let us know what you're thinking if you're going through the same journey or if you've been through that journey and would like to share some of your insight. I would love to hear about it.
Yeah, please. We're definitely here for that. All right.
Till
next next week. Take care. Peace and blessings.
I release all judgment and embrace where I am with love. I surrender to this moment. I find peace within. I surrender to this moment. I find peace within. I surrender to this moment.